Hello, everybody. This is Jim Feist in Las Vegas, and I'm joined again by Hank Goldberg. Hank, you're back in sunny Florida. You had a successful trip out here to Las Vegas. You kicked butt. Super Bowl, horses, baskets, everything. You're having a great year, just like you did in 2017. And good to talk to you again today. Good morning.
Hi, Jim. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy about the way things are going, and I'm really excited about some of the stuff we're seeing. And well, I'm not excited about the Josh McDaniel thing, but I understand what happened, and I don't think he's. I think he screwed a lot of people, especially the ones that he promised that he gave his word. But anyway, that's what happens in sports these days.
I think the Patriots are going to regret everything they've done this year. I think they're going to regret the trade they made with the quarterback. They got nothing for him, basically. I think they're going to regret this move because McDaniel, I've heard nothing good about him when he had a head coaching job. I heard he's stupid. This was a stupid move that he made. His agent has now sold him out, and I know they're counting on him to take over for Belichick when Belichick's done. When Joe Belichick and Brady leave, I think the Patriots are done. Their defense is not in good shape right now. They've been exposed. They're on the down this year, and I don't think they're coming back. I don't think they're going to win next year.
Well, I would basically agree, except for one thing. Somebody in that division, Miami, Buffalo, the Jets, has to step up. Otherwise, it's a cakewalk again for the Patriots to get into the playoffs. And
well, it won't be Miami. I can tell you that. They're stuck. They got lousy management, and they're in bad shape. I don't like the quarterback coming back, and Tannenbaum is a joke. The Dolphins are not going anywhere. Buffalo's the team to watch. They're in pretty decent shape, and Buffalo could be a team to keep an eye on. Pittsburgh could be good again next year. I don't know. I think I have a new offensive coordinator. Who knows what's going to happen there. There could be a couple of teams to look at, but I'm going to tell you right now, I want a future bet on Minnesota to come back next year strong. They get that running back healthy, assuming he comes back from his injury. The right move at quarterback, and I think the Vikings could come back and challenge. They've got a good, strong defense. They came within a game of being probably in a great position to win, and they could be a good price this year again. They're loaded. We'll see what they do in terms of what they have for next year.
they do have an issue at quarterback. They have three guys that are all.
That's not an issue. That's a strength.
Well, they got to make a choice who they're going to keep.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I think it's going to be between the last two guys who played. I think that, and that's not a bad position to be in.
No?
I don't think that the lefty's going to be the choice.
Now, what do you think about the Philadelphia situation with Wentz and Foles?
I think they're in a very good position with Foles as a bargaining chip. But the other guy was going to be the MVP. They can take the time and see, see how he comes back to health. But Foles could be, another situation like the Giants with a backup quarterback, and Tampa with a backup quarterback who got by. And maybe even a situation like Baltimore with their quarterback who hasn't done anything since he won a Super Bowl. I don't know that Foles is a long-time answer.
Well, Wentz is younger, and obviously had a great year until he got hurt. Foles was
He's the guy.
Well, of course, but I wasn't really thinking that Philadelphia would choose Foles over Wentz. I was thinking, well, where do you think Foles is going to probably have to go? I don't think they can afford to pay two quarterbacks top money, and Foles can pick
Right.
up top money. Foles would be my choice over anybody coming out of college. At least you know what you got with him. The college players, you never know what you're getting.
I think most people seem to think that that Rosen is the top guy coming out of college, long term, and a guy you can build around. This is a pretty good year for college. There's 3 or 4 guys who figured it's pretty good investment. You never know. Look at what happened with Houston before that guy got hurt. Rolling.
Yeah, there are some good quarterbacks that have come out of college recently. Wentz, of course, is one. Goff, Watson. There are some players that have some potential long term in the league, and some of these kids coming out.
Quarterbacks are ready to. Kids are ready to play when they come out of college now. They don't have to wait anymore.
Well, they can't afford to make them wait. They pay them too much money to sit them. That's one of the issues.
Well, they're ready to win too. It's another issue.
As long as we can give them an offensive line. If you can't do that, you're not going anywhere. That's probably the most underrated part of football. The offensive line is such a critical area that is not focused on enough. And teams with good offensive lines typically do very well. The Cavaliers, switching sports, pulled a massive trade, several of them, the other day. They really changed their squad, and I think they might have improved themselves a little bit, but it's going to take time to gel that. I mean, do you think that that's a positive move or a very positive move for them?
It was a necessary move. They got younger. The deal they made with Boston did not work out, and so they decided to make the change now before it was too late. He just hasn't been able to do anything. He came in and he's apparently not recovered from the injury. Maybe he never will. But that was part of it. But the guy who really pulled one on him, and I think pulled one on LeBron, is Kyrie. Losing Kyrie may have just killed LeBron's run in Cleveland, and I don't think that Kyrie, for Isaiah, has worked out at all. Kyrie is really helping Boston. I think Boston is in a position to beat Cleveland right now because Kyrie is now that he's healthy again, makes a difference. And Kyrie, for the guys that they got from the Lakers, is not a good deal either, if you want to look at it that way. For once, I agree with the analysts from ESPN on basketball who are evaluating the deal that way. And so Kyrie's plans were, I think, to undermine LeBron when he wanted to get out of there, and I think he's been successful in doing it. That's the way I look at it. I think Cleveland's toast. I don't think they can win. I think the coach it's made the coach sick. And I think now, in addition to that, Wade is now back in Miami. All the things that they plan to do this year are by the board.
Yeah, I agree that Cleveland is toast, and Kyrie wanted to be a franchise player, and he is that in Boston. He couldn't be that on the same team as LeBron. As good as LeBron is,
I think the most. I got, you know something. LeBron is not playing any defense right now. And I'll tell you something else. The Lakers have put themselves in a good position. They got rid of some salary, and it was a pretty good move on their part because now they're in a position to really improve themselves next year in the free agent area. They can get two high-priced players, and then maybe they're in chase for LeBron. Who knows?
yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for the playoffs to start and really get into it, and watching what happens. It's going to be really interesting. College hoops, you've been doing really well in college hoops.
Before you know something, Jim, before we get off the NBA, Oklahoma City's playing very well right now. Houston's playing very well right now. I think the Western Division playoffs might be fun to watch.
Oh, they will. And with Houston, the Warriors, Oklahoma City. I mean, you got some really good teams, and it's going to be a battle out there. The East, I actually think Toronto or Cleveland, or not Cleveland, but Boston could come out of the East and not the Cavs. That's kind of where I'm heading with that. College hoops, anything? Duke in North Carolina was a tale of two halves. High scoring, Duke doing well in the first half, and then North Carolina just shut them down in the second half, slowed the game down, and took over.
You know something? It's been playing all year. They shut themselves down. They don't play defense, and they get cold shooting in the second half of games. They'll go out and blow leads and consistent now. And Duke in the last week, they've lost. They've been dropping in the ratings. They've lost St. John's, but St. John's also beat Villanova. Happy for Chris Mullin, good guy. St. John's, after losing 12 straight games, all of a sudden has come to life. But Duke, I'm concerned about Duke because they just can't defend at all, and they should be controlling the boards against teams. And in the second half, they don't because their defense is bad, and teams that can shoot from outside can rival Duke, and that's what's happening. Again, I think Coach K is a little bit frustrated. Duke might be a year away with the three kids that they recruited, but the usual powers are not playing that well. And now, you have Ohio State that's come to life in the Big. They just knocked off Purdue, who I thought was the strongest team by a lot out there. So, and Kansas is up and down. Auburn, I'll tell you something. Bruce Pearl is doing an amazing job with Auburn. Auburn was down about 15 points in the game and came back and wins again. And they are not just all about offense, as Bruce Pearl teams have been in the past. They're a very well-balanced team right now, and they may be a team to watch coming out of the SEC. Out west, Arizona State got a nice win last night against Southern Cal. They came from behind, but they're not as good as they were earlier this year. Teams are on to them a little bit. And Arizona, there's no consistency out west. There really isn't. So it's wide open. I'll tell you, going into the tournament is going to be a real crapshoot.
Personally, I think Villanova's the team to beat. That's my personal opinion, but
Yeah.
I do.
You know, they just got knocked off by St. John.
St. John's is playing well right now, and not every team's going to come to play every night. It's a long season. They're getting down near the end of it, and they're looking forward to the conference tournaments. So sometimes they take the eye off the ball. And you mentioned Purdue, and Purdue was playing great, and they lost. And so I think at this time we've seen a lot of
at home.
Yes, we've seen a lot of teams, big favorites, not only not cover, but they're losing the game straight up. And that's that time of year. I think that the road teams that have been pulling these upsets have gotten a little bit better on the road because they've played a whole season now. They're a little bit more mature, a little bit more seasoned. They're more dangerous. And I think that's what you're starting to see.
This team is going to be strong in the playoffs is West Virginia. He's a good coach. They'll have them ready. They got, and they can play defense. They could be a team to watch.
They went through that stretch where they lost several games in a row, and then the other night they played Kansas State. At the end of that game, they just blew them away by 38. And then they go to Oklahoma and beat them. They can play defense. The one flaw that I see with that team that bothers me is they don't have a go-to guy when they need that score. And they're a little bit too inconsistent on the offensive end. Defense, there's no question. They can disrupt any kind of defense or offense. But I like them a lot. And I like Huggy Bear a lot. I think they do a great job. That lack of a go-to scorer a little bit bothers me a little bit.
I think they're pretty good as far as defense, and they're good at controlling the boards. And they've got some, when their outside shooting is on, they're a very tough team to beat.
No question. Well, Hank, you got a weekend of sports. I imagine you have some horses as well.
I'll take a look at what's going on. I did not look at the form yet for this weekend, but I will this afternoon. And now we're getting into the 3-year-old season, so some of the big 3-year-olds are coming up. Last weekend we killed it in horse racing. We had 90 dollars DACA at Santa Anita, and we caught the super in the stakes races, in the stakes race at Gulfstream. So we had coast-to-coast wins for our followers.
Well, I hate to tell you though, Hank, you've been doing that for about a year now. So it's not every week, but it's pretty damn consistent, killing the races. You're absolutely doing great. And we got a big card of basketball in pro and college this weekend. Hank's horses, my plays as well. Just go to jimfeist.com and make sure you check that, and make sure you get Hank's horses for the weekend. And
I think Michigan State has a big game this weekend.
How's it? I was listening to Jay Billis. He still thinks Michigan State's the best team in the country.
Not this year.
They do have some issues too, and off the court stuff also. So Tom Izzo's got a little bit of heat on him right now. Anyway, Hank, thank you for the podcast. Thank you everybody out there for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.